Russ. Happy New Year, first and foremost. I know it's been a while, but I suppose that what we've got to do is catch up on the injuries and their injuries and illness, because there are a few names to mention. So if we do the injuries first, if possible, Kieran, Jay, Jordan, Lewis, David, Warren, how are they all getting on?
They're all progressing nicely. They're all not going to be back with us in the immediate future, but they're all progressing really nicely, and I expect we'll have a good few of them back for the next league game against Peterborough. So they're unlikely to be available for this weekend, but I expect at least 3 or 4 of them to be ready for the Peterborough game, which would be great.
And then you've got Matty Sorinola and Stephen Walker, who had non-COVID related illness. How are they?
Yeah, they're both back training now, so it's good to have them back. They were disappointed to miss the games they did, obviously. But yeah, they're both back training and both ready and available to be selected for Burnley.
And I know, George, in this day and age, we all know family, friends, colleagues who are self-isolating. And I think George Williams is one of those people who's self-isolating at the moment.
No, he's back as well. So he finished.
Oh, he is? Okay,
yeah, he finished his 10 days of self-isolating. So he's been back with us since Monday, which is really good. Everyone had a few days off before that because obviously we didn't have a game at the weekend. So they had a well-earned rest, and then everyone's come back in and worked really, really well the last few days. So it's been a nice balance of a bit of rest, and then they've worked really hard. They'll work really hard again today, ready for, and then it'll be tapered down, ready for the weekend for a big game for us, a really exciting challenge. So yeah, George is back as well. So apart from the injuries you knew about, everyone else is available and ready, and obviously Carlton's been sent back officially to Norwich now to go and do what he needs to do. So he goes with our best wishes and our, a huge thanks for what he's contributed over a year. I spoke about that before. So yeah, we're disappointed to lose him, but pleased for him that he's managed to do well enough to earn a move somewhere. So yeah, and big thanks to Norwich for making it happen. And hopefully, it's up to us to make sure we get someone in to replace him now. But on another positive, talking whilst we're on that subject, we'll have Louis Thompson back with us really soon as well. As I said earlier, hopefully for the Peterborough one. So yeah, we've lost Carlton, but we're getting a few back that weren't here. And now it's about focusing on Burnley and then looking ahead after that.
I mean, I don't want to dwell on that, because if you said that Carlton's not going to be coming back and he's not coming back, but that's a blow, because it's goals, it's presence, it's experience. He's had such an impact on this side, hasn't he, and on the club.
Yeah, it's character, it's responsibility, it's personality. So all of those things you said, yeah. And I said before when we spoke about it that it was looking likely that he was going to get called back. I don't want to pretend it's not a loss for us. It is, but I think the way the players have adapted the last 2 games, the results showed that the goals we scored, that we can cope. We can cope without him, and we have to find different ways of doing things. But he has been a really big part of what we've done for the last year. Last season played a huge part in helping us stay in the league, and this year he was really starting to hit form as well. If you look at the last few games he played, Charlton was just outstanding performance. Accrington, the goal he scored. So he was really starting to come to the boil, if you like, and really peak. So, but again, if you want to look at it, it's another team that has been attracted to. He obviously wasn't owned by us, but he was playing for us, and he's done well enough within our structure and the way we're doing things to get noticed, and for someone to pay or potentially pay good money for him. So yeah, it is a loss for us, Luke. I'm not going to lie, but at the same time, the players have shown they can adapt and will find a way without him, and they've been brilliant in the last 2 games, which is why everyone's so important. And then after that, we've got Joe Mason coming back to full fitness as well. He got some good minutes against Swindon. So and then after that, it's up to us, as I said, to if we need to replace him, which at some point we're going to have to, because we can't just rely on Cammy and Joe. And Kieran's obviously injured, Jay Bird's injured, Steve has been ill. So we'll have to find someone to try and come in to help us. But other than that, the guys have got an opportunity now. People who haven't played as many minutes, they might have an opportunity that whereas they didn't before. So it's up to them to take it.
FA Cup 3rd round and Premier League opponents. I would imagine with everything that's going on at the moment, you'd have preferred a home draw, but a great opportunity for you and the side.
Oh no, you've seen our pitch, haven't you? I'm happy with a away draw and a good pitch. So Yeah, no, listen, obviously we've got a lot of away games in a row. That's been spoke about and discussed. The Rochdale one being taken out, that obviously, so, but I think it's 4 away games in a row anyway. But yeah, I just see it as a big opportunity for us, really, as a football club, as a team, a real opportunity for the players to go there and try and show what they're about, and try and show how hard we work on certain things, and really and test ourselves to try and implement the way that we play against a Premier League opposition. That's going to be really difficult because, you know, I speak about culture a lot. I speak about what we're trying to build here, and with the manager that they have, Sean Dyche and his staff, and a group of players they've had for a long time together, they've built a seriously strong culture where everyone knows what they're about. The expectations really clear. And listen, obviously the playing styles are probably a little bit different, but culturally, I don't know if you'll find many stronger than Burnley in what they have there and what they stand for, and the clarity in what they do. So it's going to be a real test for us, and I'm really excited by it, and the players should be as well. I'm trying to get that across to them this week. You know, they should go there with no fear. It's a big challenge when you're going to a Premier League side away from home, whatever position you're in the league, whatever position they are in. But it's a one-off game. It's a real chance for the players to show what they're about, and for some of them to show what good players they can be. And hopefully, you know, if you get as many people doing that as possible, you end up with a good team performance. And that's all I want to see. There's no expectation outside of this building on us because it's a Premier League opposition against a League One team. So no one expects us to go there and do anything. But let's try and embrace the challenge, embrace the opportunity, and see where it takes us.
And there is an interesting comparison, really, with the way that Sean Dyche, when he took over, said, I want the culture of the club to be this. I want everyone to recognise Burnley almost in the way that they play football, and everyone knows what they're doing. And it's, like you said, maybe a different style, but it's exactly what you've done since you've taken over at MK Dons. There's this, need for the whole club to know what MK Dons is about.
Yeah, 100%. I think you have to stand for something. You have to, whether that's in standards and behaviour, whether that's on the pitch. But I don't think you get a real identity on the pitch without having everything else around it, without having that collective culture of everyone buying into the same thing, of everyone knowing what the expected standards are, and the expected behaviours, and how you're supposed to act on behalf of the club. And you know, it boils down to hard work and working extremely hard and being really good at what you want to do. And that's why I've got so much respect for what Sean Dyche has built there at that football club. And that's why it's going to be so hard for us, and that's why it's so hard for any team that goes there to play. But I think I've spoke about us culturally and where we're going and what we're trying to do. And even if I look at the way the guys train now, you know, we spoke about it this week as a group of staff. They had a few days off. It would have been really easy to come in and sort of take it easy. And I think this time last year that would have probably been the case. And the difference in how the players train now, the mentality, the way they approach training, the way they compete with each other, the way they praise each other when there's something good been done, the way they get on top of each other in the right way when someone needs to give a little bit more, which doesn't happen very often. But it's been a big shift, been a massive shift culturally, and it's not to say it was right or wrong before, but it just wasn't what I believed it should be, or what I wanted it to look like. And that was our biggest job, was to change that mentality. And I look at the group now, and they're so far away from that. So it shows me that we're on the right path, just from the stuff I see on the pitch as well in terms of performance, but the day-to-day stuff, the mentality of these players and the culture of the club now is one I'm proud of. I said that, and we need to keep growing that and building it. And games like these and tests like these, we have to go and show how far we really have come in terms of mentality and intensity and what we're trying to build. So I'm really excited about it, and we'll go there and try and give a really good account of ourselves, and we're going to go and try and win a game. Of course we are, but also, you know, relishing how tough a challenge it is.
Have you crossed paths with Sean Dyche before?
No, I played against him many years ago when he was at Northampton.
Yeah.
I think he was probably coming towards the end of his career.
Yeah.
So he was tough, very tough, but he wouldn't remember me. I was a skinny young kid trying to make my own in the game at that point, and probably not very good either. But he obviously just watched his career from afar, and I got huge respect for it. And I actually listened to him during the first lockdown on an FA course I was on, and he spoke on that about culture and what he's built at Burnley and how he's done it, and that was obviously very interesting and powerful stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going up against him and his team, and seeing how we can do.
They've picked up a little bit, haven't they? I mean, it's just a slightly shaky start, but they've done this before, Burnley. They've had difficult periods, and they've always come out the other end. And, I think 1 defeat in 6. They've just started to, get their Premier League legs running again.
Yeah. So obviously it makes the challenge even tougher for us. They've obviously got a big game 2 or 3 days after our game, I think 3 days after maybe, so that they might have one eye on that. You just don't know. And I've been on both ends of the scale. I've been in the Premier League and coming up against lower league or non-league opposition, and it can be really difficult. So we need to try and make it as difficult as possible for them. And I think the biggest challenge for Premier League teams when coming up against lower league teams, especially if you make a couple of changes, is to make sure the players have the right mentality. I don't think that'll be a problem for them because of what they've got, and I just spoke about the culture and what they have. So probably a bit of a disadvantage for us. I think against most top tier teams when they come up against this, and it's not always a conscious thing, but they do tend to relax a little bit, the players. But I don't think he'll allow them to do that. So it's going to be tough for us. There's no doubt about it. But the players have to embrace the opportunity and the challenge ahead.
And just finally on the FA Cup, and I know when the FA Cup comes round, managers always get asked questions about memories, etc. But there's still something I think there is. I mean, some people deride it a little bit and say that the leagues are more important than the Champions League, but there's something really special about the FA Cup. I mean, from your perspective, anything stands out memories wise? Yeah,
my memories are bad ones of getting beat by lower league opposition. I remember at Norwich being beat by Luton 1-0, and we were. They were I think they were in the conference at the time and working their way back up, and that was a tough day.
Was it Scott Rendell got the goal?
It was, yeah. And I played with Scott Peterborough, so I remember that day, unfortunately. So it's those sort of things. I've always done all right in the League Cup, but as a player, I've always been a bit, not gotten too far in the FA Cup. But it's a brilliant competition. You're right. I think it's, when you talk about cup competitions, it's the one everyone around the world knows. I remember, obviously, one of my best friends, Sergio Torres, his dream was to play in the FA Cup because they watched it as a kid in Argentina, and it was a big deal playing for him, even getting through to the first round and stuff like that. So, and they had a great cup run a few years ago. So, yeah, it can be a brilliant thing, and it can be, and it creates moments of real magic and stuff you remember. Not my own personal memories, but I remember watching the FA Cup finals as a kid and loads of stuff as growing up. So, unfortunately, I didn't create too many good ones in the competition. So I hope we can create some better ones as a manager and as a team here.
Cheers, Russ. Nice one.
No problem.
It's also going to be the first game that Dons have with VAR. I mean, I don't suppose that really makes an awful lot of difference to your approach to it, but I suppose it adds an extra element to the game, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's something we spoke about, Toby, to be honest, because there are things we have to be more aware of. There's stuff we have to do, but maybe have to do a little bit differently because of the VAR. So the players, it was just important to make the players aware of it because it's the first game we've faced under it, and I'm pretty sure it'll be the first game for all the players that have had it. So we just need to make sure they were aware of that and the implications of that for us. So like you said, it shouldn't change too much, but there are certain bits we just need to make sure we're on top of and we're doing properly. It'll be an interesting one for us. And I hope we score a goal, and I hope it gets VAR because it means we've scored a goal, and we'll have to wait and see. But so I don't think it'll change too much, and obviously they're used to it week in, week out. But yeah, it'll be interesting for us for sure.
What sort of things do you have to tell them about? I mean, we all know that it's sometimes a different game, isn't it? The higher up the divisions you go, that fouls are given differently and appeals and all this sort of stuff. What sort of things have you had to warn your players about then?
I just think in terms of like physical contact. When marking people, when running with people, there's a lot of stuff you see that you don't see that goes on off the ball, and it's not always dark art. It's not always like sinister stuff at all. Most of the time, it's not. But you just have to be a bit more clever, really. You just have to make sure that you don't put yourself in a position where you can be caught out at any point, and that means trying to avoid contact. It means doing your work early, getting in a good position really early, especially against a team that's going to be very athletic and powerful. To just making sure the players know that there's not a minute to switch off, especially when you have that hanging over your head, especially defensively in particular. So they just have to make sure that they're doing things as properly and as intensely as they can to make themselves to not put themselves in a position where they can be exploited by it at all.
It wouldn't be a January press conference without the inevitable talk of transfers. You said you wanted to do your business early. Are you close to anything at the moment?
We've got a lot of plates spinning at the moment, so yeah, I don't want to put a timeline on anything. What I would say is we've worked very hard on a lot of things, and there's 3 or 4 that at the moment look like they could come off fairly quickly, but at the same time they could also drag on because things change. So I think we're expecting departures fairly soon, and we're hopeful to bring people in fairly quickly, and that's probably all I can give you at the moment, without jeopardising anyone or anything. So there will be players leaving, there will be people coming in. I just can't give you an exact time, but we're working really hard on it. And obviously with the lockdown announced again, it changes things again, Toby. It makes things more difficult, especially for us with the business behind the football. It really affects that again. So it changes the landscape a little bit, and the chairman and Andy are being extremely supportive, but at the same time I have to be really conscious about making sure we don't put the club under any jeopardy or any unnecessary pressure. So yeah, we are trying really hard, and there will be people signing. I just can't tell you when at this minute in time, which is the frustration with January, because you want to get it done early, and I learned last window you can't, and I've said we want to try and do it as early as possible this window, and we are going to continue to do that. But we'll just have to wait and see how long it takes.
And just finally, Joe Mason is the player we're about to speak to. It's been a really difficult time at MK Dons for him, hasn't it? Because there's not really been any flow to it. He seems to find his feet and then get injured again. It's been a really difficult time, hasn't it? Yeah,
I'm frustrated for Joe because he's such a gifted footballer. He's got so much talent. Obviously, his career to date will tell you that he's, with the clubs he's played for, the level he's been at. Last year it was a frustrating one for him because he got injured when, the training pitch was wet, it was slippy, and he injured himself, which was unfortunate. And then he came back for us and looked really, really good. He scored, I think, 4 in 6 or something, and was looking really getting up to speed. And then he slipped again at the training ground and tweaked a previous injury. So this season it was innocuous. It was at the training ground. He took a kick, and we were all really excited. Came back looking really sharp, and then it's just taken him a while to get going again. So we really believe in Joe as a player, and as a character, he's brilliant. A really, really top guy, good professional. So I just hope we can. And I think he's getting there now. He's in a really good place. He's looked so sharp in training. The players, I think when you play with him, you really appreciate how good he is, his movement, technically, how good he is around the box, his finishing, his top draw. We just need to keep him fit and get him fit enough to be able to reproduce that consistently. And if we do, my belief is we have one of the best strikers in the division. But he's been really unlucky. He hasn't been able to show that yet here properly for an extended period. And I think he's feeling that. I think he feels that. I think he feels annoyed. I think he feels frustrated. So now it's about managing those emotions and keeping him patient, because we need to get him to where he needs to be. But physically, I would say he's in a really good place now. He's looking in as good a shape as I've seen him. The physical data backs that up. So we have to make sure we keep on top of that and get him on the pitch more and more as much as we can, and keep building him up. And when we do, when he gets there, I think you'll be able to see in the way that we play, there's not many that would suit us better. So hopefully he'll be able to show that again, and be able to get a chance to show that again.
And whenever he comes on, he seems to have a chance within the first 30 seconds, a minute of coming on. He's just not
quite ready for it. So when you come on, it's difficult. But there's no coincidence that he gets those chances. His movement is fantastic. You can ask any of the players here about. He makes people give him the ball in and around the box because his movement is so purposeful. He has so much conviction in it. It's so clever. You just can't help but give him the ball in those positions, and there's not many who are able to do that. And he's a very intelligent footballer. As I said, the frustration for him and for us is we haven't been able to get him out there enough. And a couple of them have been no fault of his own at all, the injuries. So I think we just need to make sure he builds confidence in his body and in himself. And when he does, we'll be better for it.